All right. Good afternoon, follow-up boss users. We are here for another exciting episode of Bosses in Action. My name is Brian Curtis, and I'll be honored to be the host today. I'm filling in for Tristan as he had a previous engagement. But I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about today, because there's always, each and every one of us is always looking for new opportunities and new tools to use. And so we have Mark Rader and Stacey Turnage on with us today, and we really appreciate them being here. And why don't you guys, we'll just start by doing a little introduction. And Stacey, I'll start with you.
Hello, everybody. I am Stacey Turnage. I am based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I have been a follow-up boss user probably for about the last couple of years, and I love it. My production has increased, my productivity has increased, and I am just here to share my thoughts.
Awesome. Thank you so much. How about yourself, Mark?
Fantastic. Mark here in Southern California, over in the Malibu area. I actually work on Tristan's team, and yeah, we've been using Follow Up Boss for quite some time now, long time now. I can't even keep track anymore now. But it's good. Really excited. Love CRMs. Excited to dive in this with all of you.
Awesome. Well, so Mark and I will harass Stacey today. Just kidding. So we're just going to ask Stacey some questions, see what works. So, let's just kind of dive in. And Stacey, let's just start with the simplest thing. What is, you've been using Follow Up Boss for a long time. I have too. It's obviously a great tool. I know Mark on Tristan's team uses as well. So what is your favorite tool, and what's one of the things you'd love to share with us today?
I think my favorite thing about Follow Up Boss is the contact record, right? So I can put everything about a contact in one central location. I can add the PDF of their pre-approval. I can see what activity or what houses they've looked at, what their search looks like. I could add, emails. I can text from their contact record. That's my favorite part. It's just the contact record, and one place where I can house all the information.
It's interesting what you said, and I don't know, Mark, maybe you can chime in on this too. Did you say you're actually saving PDFs inside of the Follow-Up Boss record?
Absolutely. So when I get a contact and they get a pre-approval letter, I attach that pre-approval letter to the contact record. So if I need to access it quickly, whether I'm on the go or sitting at my computer, instead of scrolling through my emails, I can just go to the contact record, download it, and voila, it's there.
Also from your mobile app too.
Absolutely.
That's great. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm always on the road.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to use a computer in the car, but that's just me.
And you know what? Get you an iPad with a magic keyboard. It's life-changing.
I might have to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And obviously, as real estate agents, one of the things that, theoretically, we're in front of our computers all the time. In reality, we're never in front of our computers, right?
Sure.
So absolutely, the ability to just grab that contact information really, really quickly and, uploading that as a PDF, that's a fabulous idea. I'll be honest, the first time I heard of anyone doing it, and really cool tool, and I hope that some of our users will adapt that, because it definitely, anytime we can have more information right inside in one single place, it makes it simple and easy to move forward. So
yes, and that's what I love. I mean, it's the contact record, bar none, is my favorite. Okay.
Cool. So what are some of the other things that you're using? Obviously, contact record is important. What are some of the other tools that you're using that have really used, you said it kind of when we were in the green room, it really kind of helped your business take off. So what are some of the things that you've changed using Follow Up Boss, and how has that helped your business grow?
It's the smart list, right? Because it really kind of drives what I need to do during the day. I open up Follow Up Boss and I look, what leads came in, have those leads been contacted? How are they contacted? And then it kind of drives what I'm going to do the rest of the day, right? Or at least during my prospecting time. So, if they come in through a Google PPC ad or, a referral or some other lead source, right? It just drives my workflow. And the smart list, I struggle with, is contact record the best or is smart list the best? So I love how, I can develop my process based on a smart list, based on how the leads come into Follow Up Boss.
Great. And here's my favorite word. It's my theme for 2022. So I'll just share it with you. It's and. So the answer is they're both important, right? They both serve different functions. They're both very important and do that. Would you mind sharing some of the smart lists that you're using, or at least conceptually what they are? I know there's a million different smart lists that people have created. I mean, there's not even a comprehensive list. There's so many. So maybe some of the smart lists that are really working for you and have really helped you clean up your CRM and your businesses.
Well, for me, I use the number one smart list is the new leads that come into Follow Up Boss, whether they are Google PPC ads, Facebook ads. If I'm on the road and do a referral or bump into someone and add their contact information, it'll pop on the next day or immediately actually to that list. So the next day I can work it. So, I have a new leads, I have a past clients, which is always great, because if I want to send out a bulk email, I can do that. If I want to send out, have a reminder that, oh, I need to reach out to this person or this past client, I can just go into that smart list, find them, do what I need to do, and communicate via the smart list, opposed to remembering, now, where is the information, or searching. So when you close or you become a past client, you're dropped into that smart list for me, and it just allows me easy access, again, on the road. Sometimes I'm in somebody's neighborhood and I just want to shoot a quick text and say, hey, in the neighborhood, hope all is well, and I can sell your house again. But or I can help you buy a new one. So for me, it helps with workflow.
Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Stacey, I got a question for you. So for those who are listening, and I'm actually curious myself, what is the beginning of Stacey's day look like as far as the smart list? Are we looking at new leads first, right? What happens after that?
I actually look at active clients first, because typically there is something that has gone on since I've left the computer that a active client has done. And in my world, active could be someone who is actively looking, or a pending client that is under contract now, and we're going through the process, whether it's my transaction coordinator has communicated or an actual client has communicated. So I start the day looking at active clients and where we left off yesterday. And then I tackle my new leads, where I sit down and communicate with them via email, via text, via phone call, and sometimes in that order, because depending on what time of day it is, they could be at work, right? So I'm very cognizant of time. So active pending clients, then new leads, and then the things that come out of those two things dictates the rest of the day, including tasks.
Yeah. Now, I want to touch base on texts and emails. Are you texting and emailing within the Follow Up Boss CRM, or are you using like your own personal cell phone?
Nope, I text within the Follow Up Boss CRM, and Follow Up Boss phone number is throughout all of my social media. So no one gets my direct number unless they knew me before I begin to use Follow Up. And even then, I'll shoot them a text message from the Follow Up Boss number and have them save it. So when they start getting messages from that, they'll know who it is.
Nice. That's awesome. I like that.
So real quick, so we got a smart list that says new clients. Can you just tell me exactly what that smart list equals? Like, in other words, if I were to set that up, is it just people who are new and haven't changed stage? What's the filter, if you will, so that we can, just understand what you're doing? Because at some point in time, people are going to hopefully move from list to list or move off a list. Right. So what's the thing that moves them on and off that list?
I think the thing that, I know the thing that drops them into that list is the lead source that they come from, right? So I have it set up according to the lead sources. So if you come from my website, if you are coming back to my website, things like that. If you're coming from a Facebook ad, you drop there. Even if I'm out and about and I add you to, the mobile app, you drop into that filtered list. So then I can begin to work you as a new client or as a new prospect.
So make me just a little bit smarter. So I got somebody on the list, and Brian Curtis is on the list. I'm moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm really excited. I go on your list, and you sound like an agent who stays on top of it. So you call me, I don't answer the phone. Do I stay on that list? Do I move to a different list? What happens to me at what point in time, or let's just walk through that flow. How many days do you follow up with me if we don't make contact? What does that look like? Because I think that's an important thing for people to understand.
So you stay on the list 10 days, and
10
I
days.
follow up until I either get you on the phone or get you to respond. And then if you don't do that within 10 days, it moves you automatically to a nurture list, where I then begin to nurture you via action plans and an email marketing campaign.
Okay. And you said it automatically moves. So you've actually got an automation set up that that moves it. If something doesn't happen I'm assuming if stage remains the same after 10 days, or what is the trigger for that automation? So
correct. So day 11, if you've not done anything and if we've not communicated, it automatically moves you to the nurturing list.
Okay, cool. And how often do we follow up with the nurtures?
Once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Because once you hit that nurture list, I then also, it starts the potential client email marketing, email nurturing campaigns to make sure that I stay top of mind. And that doesn't necessarily sit in Follow Up Boss, but it definitely triggers the software that I use for the email marketing.
Okay. Out of curiosity, what is that? And then I'll let
I'm not telling.
We have no secrets here at Follow Up Boss.
I'm kidding. So it's a cross between MailChimp and a Constant Contact. It just kind of depends on when they came into my sphere, right? Because as technology advances, as we get more knowledgeable, as we find new solutions, we often transition to those, right? So, I have some sitting in MailChimp, and then I have some sitting in Constant Contact.
Okay, awesome. Mark, you had a question?
Yeah, I do actually. So for those who are on the nurture list, in your experience, what time frame do those clients or prospects usually buy? Is it a 3 to 6 month thing, 6 months to a year thing, longer, shorter?
I think it really depends on the client. I've had them go on the nurture list and not hear from them for a year, like physically have a conversation with them, but I can look on my contact record and see they're opening everything that I send. And then all of a sudden,
Boom.
12 months and 22 days, we're ready to sell, or we're ready to start looking to purchase.
We're going. Yeah.
So I think it depends. I've had them as short as they move from the nurture list from 10 days. That 11th day, they move to the nurture list from the active list, and boom, that 15th day, they're ready to start looking, or they're ready to start talking about listing. So I really think it depends on who they are, what they're looking to do, and when they're ready.
Okay.
And I love, it sounds like you're definitely working lots of internet leads. That's what I'm hearing. I heard Google pay-per-click, I heard Facebook, I heard my website. So for me, here's our rule. I go 15 days instead of 10. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just making a comparison. I want 30 reach outs in 15 days, assuming that we have no contact. Obviously, if we have contact, we just position the lead. How many times are you going to reach out in that 10-day period? What's that rhythm look like? Text, email, phone call, bomb, video text. What does that rhythm look like for people who are out there going, obviously Stacey's having a lot of success, and I'm going to tell everybody, I don't know this question, but I'm 100% sure it's not one contact. That I'm sure of. So what does that look like realistically after 10 days of non-contact? How many times have we reached out to that person, and what does that rhythm look like?
I do it 16 times during the 10 days, and it's various ways: email, text message, phone call. And keep in mind, they are already in, because once they hit that list, they automatically go to the email marketing, right? So they get various ways. It's not just one way. I think it depends on who that person is. Again, I don't like to talk on the phone after being on the phone all day. So you're quicker to get a response from me via text message than you are sometimes a phone call. So I try to hit them all: email, text, phone call, and I have it coming from various different sources.
Stacey, I got a question for you. Kind of going on today's market, are you seeing more success in responses via like contacts in text, emails, or calls?
Text messages, for sure. Text
and why do you
messages.
think that is?
I think it's easier, it's quicker. I think a lot of people kind of think like me. It's easier, and you can multitask by responding quicker to a text message than you can an email. And Lord, to get somebody to answer the phone is pretty tough these days, especially when they don't know who you are, right? So I think the text message is the easiest and the quickest to respond. However, I will also say it depends on where the lead source comes from, right? So we all know when you're doing Facebook leads, that's the long game. Right.
Yeah.
So it's midnight, they're bored, they're wide awake, they're scrolling through, they see your ad, they click on it, and voila, now they're in follow-up boss. They're 9 times out of 10, they're not going to answer your phone call, they're not going to answer your text message. But in my contacts record, I can see that they are opening my emails. So there's that.
Right.
Here's a question along the lines of Facebook, and then I'll let you come back in, Mark. Sorry about that.
No, it's good.
So this isn't. Are you using action plans to tell you what to do? And here's what I mean by that. You can set up an action plan that says, I got to call this person today, and then tomorrow I text them, and the next day I email them. Are you using action plans like that?
Yes.
And then my follow-up is, do you reach out via Facebook Messenger to Facebook leads?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why, right?
Okay.
I thought about that, but if we're not friends on Facebook, it goes to some random Facebook Messenger box that they 9 times out of 10 don't check anyway. So I find it hard to do it that way.
And I agree, it doesn't always work. I can tell you it does work sometimes, and that's just from my personal experience. So, those of you who are watching, if you're suffering from, I can't get a hold of people, again, what's it going to work? Maybe 10% of the time, but that's just one more person you can potentially contact. So I would definitely suggest you do that. And I would say that regardless of lead source. We got a realtor.com lead one time, and it was a very strong sounding lead. I want to go see this house. We called them, we texted them, we emailed, they ignored us. And I just out of the blue said, well, why don't we try this? We Facebook Messenger them, and we ended up working with them. So does that work every time? Nope. But it's just something that those of you watching might consider, especially for Facebook leads. Like, it's hard to say someone doesn't have a Facebook account if they're a Facebook lead. So anyway, Mark, you had another question.
Actually, I want to sum up that a little golden nugget, like Brian just said too. There's another source of a way to contact someone. For those of you who may not know, if you have an iPhone or a Mac, you can take their email, right? You can plug that email into the Messages app, and if it shows a blue, you can iMessage their email. Let's say they get a bad number, but their email works. You can then contact them via text through the email address, which is a pretty cool little hack for those who don't know.
Okay, so say that one more time.
Yep. I got
a trick. It really is.
So let's say for example, you get a lead. It says Brian Curtis came through as a lead. Number is 555-5555-555, whatever. Doesn't work, right? But Brian has his email, briancurtis@briancurtis.com.
Right.
Let's say that his email is linked to his iMessage on his iPhone, right?
Okay.
That means that if it's turned on, you can take that email, plug it into your Messages app, right, on your iPhone or your Mac. If it shows up as blue, like a blue bubble, then you can text Brian through his email.
Oh my God, that's ingenious.
Hey, I'm here. All right, I'm signing off. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Mark. Mic drop. And for those of you watching, 42% of people in the United States use an iPhone. That's the math. If you own a cell phone, 42% of people are on iPhone. So even if you're not a Mac guy, sorry. And here's another trick. If you're not a Mac guy, create an iCloud account. They're free, and you can message through the iCloud account. You could even do that anyway. As Bruce was saying, I'm not an iPhone guy. I'm not a Mac guy. It's funny. I'm a PC and iPhone person, so I'm torn, I guess. But that's kind of how that works.
You know what, Bruce? If you have an iPhone, it works that way too. And Heather, yes, it would be outside of FUB because FUB is not connected with iMessaging. And
you know what? That's so interesting. I have 2 iPhones. I have an iMac. I have a MacBook Pro. I have an iPad. I think I have the iMac thing covered, but I never thought of that. That blue bubble is amazing. That's
So
a good one.
Yeah, hey, little golden nuggets, right? I do have a question for you though, Stacey. On you mentioned action plans. Did you create your own, or did you have influence from other action plans? Can you give us any guidance on that?
You know what? I've had a whole lot of influence, like a whole lot of influence. And then as I've gotten better with understanding how action plans work and the information that needs to be included in an action plan, I've tweaked them along the way, right?
Okay.
I found that some have great open rates, and then some are not so much. So when I realize they don't have great open rates, I go in and I research and change or tweak or delete or edit or whatever I need to do to make that action plan a viable one.
Have you ever noticed that some of them work, and then let's say like a couple months later, it just stops working, as if the people work together and they know? It's like, it's weird, isn't it?
Yep.
Funny.
And the other big thing I will say about action plans too is you got to keep your information updated. So I recently changed my website address, right? Now, granted, the website that's reflected in the action plans, that domain is forwarded to the new domain, but it is completely different. So people are probably like, oh my God, what's this? So I had to go in and I'm in that process now and updating my action plans to get rid of the old website address, even though it's forwarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, we change stuff all the time, right? And that's the problem. We got to keep up with it. Make sure all the parts talk together. Mark.
Yes.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Oh, you guys are lightweights. Y'all are picking on me. Y'all, that's good. Mark has had the biggest mic drop today.
Hey,
yeah,
that's funny. That's good. Well, I'm glad we all got a little something out of it. Stacey, I have a question for you. Aside from the smart plans, what is another extremely useful thing that you find in Follow Up Boss that you would be, just lost for words without it?
You know what? It's something very, very simple, and that's the phone number. That's the company number, right? There's always a debate amongst realtors. Do you have a business phone? Do you have a personal phone? Do you have two or do you have one? I will go on record and say that I have two, but I started my business out with two because I needed a way to disconnect, right? But I think having the Follow Up Boss number ring to my cell phone, even on my business phone, it lets me know immediately that it is a client, somebody who is potentially going to utilize my services or need some information or something like that. I think the phone number, the company number, is a deal breaker. Well, maybe not a deal breaker, but I love it. It's one of those things that, when my phone rings and it says, Brian Curtis, Follow Up Boss, I know he has come through my database and he's active in there.
Yeah.
Stacey, we have a question from Michelle. It says, how do you use deal stages? Is that something that you're using? Is that something that
I do use deal stages. Thanks, Michelle, for that question. So what I typically do is I create a deal and I don't take the deal active until we're under contract, because I'm really about keeping it clean and I want my pipeline to really reflect what is actually closing and what has the potential to close, right? So, we go under contract, that's when I create the deal, especially in this market, because it's an average of 5 offers before an offer is even accepted. So I wait. Once we're going under contract, I create a deal. I love the new commission percentage split thing. Love that add into Follow Up Boss. So that's how I use them. I create the deal once we are under contract. Then I have 5,000 people who are leads. So what I did is I created an unresponsive stage. And every week I look at, 15 to 20 people that are sitting in that lead stage and look at their contact emails. Have they text, anything or what have they done? If they've done nothing in a year or 6 months, I move them to unresponsive just to get them out of the lead stage.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I think it's important to stage people correctly. I think all too often people are using stages incorrectly. I can tell you in our business, we spent the last month and a half getting rid of stages. So I've had Follow Up Boss since 2014. And with that in mind, I bet you we had 75 or 80 stages because agents would go in and create their own stages. So we now have a rule, you're not allowed to do that anymore. And it's just keep it simple. And, that's one of the things that I'm hearing from Stacey today. She didn't say those words, but it's, hey, I'm staying 100% inside of Follow Up Boss. I don't like to get outside of Follow Up Boss. I live there. It's my CRM. And I think that that's amazing. And not enough people do that. And then keep it simple. Let's not have 150 different stages and 4 million tags. And people wonder why they can't figure out what's going on with their database once it gets over 50 people. Well, if you got 50 people, you shouldn't have 50 stages. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So awesome. Well, we've got just about 3 minutes left. Mark, any other questions that you have for Stacey? And I'm sure we could spend another hour and a half, but they only gave us 30 minutes. So
yeah, right, absolutely. Stacey, really appreciate you being on. Honestly, I've learned some pretty cool stuff from you today. I really like your approach on the smart list and how you utilize that second number as like a second phone almost, which is really cool. And giving that to clients, which is great. I like that.
It's what I do because it makes it so much easier for me to know who's calling me, right?
Yeah.
It makes me it gets me in mode if it's a client versus, a vendor partner or a lender or a transaction, that's already in the mode. And once you teach your clients how to use it, it's a breeze, easy breezy.
Here's my final question for you. V cards. Those of you who don't know what a V card is, it's basically just the contact data inside of your cell phone, and in this case, an iPhone. When you send people, do you send them every one of your phone numbers? And here's what I mean. So like I use a thing called call action. So my call action phone number is in there. My Follow Up Boss phone number is in there. My cell phone number is there. And the reason I do that is because I want that to show up in somebody's phone, save my contact information. Then no matter what phone number I call from, it doesn't say Brian Curtis's Follow Up Boss number. It just says Brian Curtis. So are you utilizing the V card? Is that something that you find valuable?
No, I'm not utilizing it right now, but I will start after this phone call.
But there you go. Okay. Yeah.
Just drive everybody to the company number and let it parse out who will eventually get the direct cell number, because I really like, if I were to say there was a third feature that I love, is the fact that I can record a call, right? And I can make notes on that recorded call, what we discussed. So I try to drive everybody through the Follow Up Boss number, if for no other reason, so I can record the call.
And Bruce said, does FUB have a V card function? It doesn't. So I will send my V card via cell phone and then, follow up. And it's not a perfect system. Here's the reality. There is no perfect system. FUB is the best system I know, but it's not perfect. It's a great system, and no one's going to convince me there's a better one. So, but awesome. Well, it is the bottom of the hour. Mark, I want to give you a final thought, and I'll give Stacey a final thought. We'll button this something up.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you everyone for being on. And if you don't have Follow Up Boss yet, heavily consider it. Use your CRM. It's one of the most effective tools for organization and closing more deals. Use it to your advantage. Okay.
Awesome. Stacey.
I will piggyback on what Mark said. It has revolutionized my business. I am a quasi tech head. So I knew Google spreadsheets and Google Docs and Excel and all that. I knew that wasn't going to work for me as far as a CRM. And I just love it. It's very much part of my business. And I don't buy any software that doesn't integrate with Follow Up Boss.
Awesome. Well, the good news is just about everything I can find integrates with Follow Up Boss. That's what I do all day, is build integration stuff. And I don't know anything it doesn't yet. And eventually I'll find something. But again, I want to thank Stacey for being here. Mark, appreciate you co-hosting with me. It's a great episode. Here's my takeaway. Keep it simple. That being said, stay in one place. You Follow Up Boss can be your life. And here's the problem with real estate agents, and I include myself in this. We go in 17 different directions simultaneously. keep all your data in one place. That way you can find it. Data is the most important information, the most important thing that we have. The only way, where we can contact people, see what they're doing, is stay in that CRM. So Follow Up Boss has built an amazing tool for us. And obviously Stacey's using it with a very high level of success. So thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of Follow Up Bosses in Action. And can't wait to see everybody again soon.
Thanks
everybody.
Everyone.
You guys have a good one.